Your top stories this evening sponsored by Courts, bringing value home. CID ranks under close arrest for missing cocaine. Public Security Minister up in arms over the incident. Fire guts 2 houses in Better Hope South, reportedly started by a toddler. Janet Jagan granted ExxonMobil 540 more blocks than Guyana laws stipulate, and highest rates of child sexual abuse now in Region 2. HGP Nightly News begins now. Good evening to our viewers here in Guyana and online. I'm Travis Chase with the Thursday, September 28 edition of the HGP Nightly News. Here's what you need to know this evening. A toddler with a box of matches and a mattress to set alight. That's what a Better Hope man will remember for a long time after his 2 houses went up in flames Thursday. More from Ayana George.
This is Lennox Marshall, the owner of the 2 houses that were gutted on Thursday at South Better Hope, East Coast Demerara. The man said he was at work when he received the news that his house was on fire but was unable to save anything when he got there.
But when I find out from the wife, she said that the grandson, he was the person who lighted the mattress afire. But she said that when she noticed the fire that they had a guy named Boyo, he was trying to get the fire, but he said he and I left panic. See, because he said by the time he come with the first 2 buckets of water, the fire was done already, engulfed inside the room.
Marshall further stated that his daughter and grandson were at home when the fire began. Here's more.
Not that he really was on, he normally just put you in the bedroom to sleep, right? And maybe they didn't realize because it was she and he alone inside the house. So she didn't really realize that he maybe had a match playing with it.
When Nightly News arrived, firefighters were already at the scene, but unfortunately for Marshall, all that remained were debris at his place of residence. The child and mother were not injured. Reporting for HGP Nightly News, Ayana George.
Thank you, Ayana. A decision by the late President Janet Jagan to grant ExxonMobil 540 oil blocks in excess of the number the laws stipulate is coming in for high praises by the opposition leader. Here's Royden James with this story.
The laws of Guyana stipulates that oil companies should be granted no more than 60 blocks, but there is reportedly a provision which states that a company can be granted in excess of 60 blocks under special circumstances. In 1999, then-President, the late Mrs. Janet Jagan, granted ExxonMobil approximately 600 blocks, and in 2008, that agreement was extended by President Jagdeo. Mr. Jagdeo confirmed the foregoing statements on Wednesday. Corruption watchdogs have been questioning why the relinquishment did not happen when Mr. Jagdeo signed the extension, since the law states that after 4.5 years of the original agreement, the company has to relinquish 50% of the blocks. Mr. Jagdeo explained that in 2000, ExxonMobil announced that there were circumstances which prevented the company from fulfilling their contract.
Once force majeure is in place, everything freezes. So it was almost a reset of the initial agreement at that stage in 2008. It was a reset. And I'm taking time to explain this to show that there was no there was no underhand deals as we have now in relation to relinquishment.
Looking back at things now, Mr. Jagdeo said he fully supports the decision by Mrs. Jagan in 1999, even if some think it was unlawful.
This country should be grateful to Janet Jagan, should be thankful. That's one. And let me say that in a similar situation in 1999, I probably would have done the same.
The opposition leader recalled that over 100 years the country has had exploration works going. He said the ExxonMobil oil find should be credited to Mrs. Jagan.
It was because of Janet giving that block out when there were no takers that today this government can boast about an oil and gas industry, because that led over years to the exploration, people putting in hundreds of millions of US dollars in drilling these wells, and they found oil, and now we are going to be an oil and gas producing country.
Mr. Jagdev is contending that Guyana still has available petroleum blocks, both in deep sea and on the continental shelf. He is urging the government to auction off those blocks, since there exists a situation in which demand exceeds supply. Roy Dan James, HGP Nightly News.
You're watching the HGP Nightly News. Several members of the police narcotics branch are under close arrest for a quantity of missing narcotics from the Criminal Investigations Department. The Public Security Minister is once again bowing his head in disappointment over the conduct of law enforcement agents. Javon Vickery has the story.
The now unaccounted for cocaine had been tendered as evidence against convicted drug mule 31-year-old Travis Mendonca, who was sentenced to 3 years imprisonment for trafficking in narcotics. The Office of Professional Responsibility has taken over the investigation as several members of the narcotics branch of the Guyana Police Force remain in custody for questioning. On Thursday, when asked by Nightly News about his thoughts on the incident, Minister of Public Security Kemraj Ramjatan said that while he's appalled that the incident has yet again shed a negative light on the force, it also brings to light the insensitivity of some members of the force.
I have my suspicions. I don't want to make them public. But we have some elements in the police force that are, if they're not totally reckless, they're so negligent that you have to put blame on some of them. Because we do have some systems in place, but I suppose it's being violated too often. And that is why we want a a property room where it will be proper record keeping as to who had it, if you had opened the suitcase, whether the cocaine was in the suitcase, all of that will have to be done here.
Acting Police Commissioner David Ramnarayan had confirmed to the media that the cocaine, approximately 2 kilograms, was discovered missing Tuesday night. Minister Ramjatan, however, noted that steps have already been put in place to ensure enhanced accountability of evidence.
And it will be videoed. As you see here, we have a video that is going to video all of that. So no policeman could come and say, well, I left it on the desk and somebody must take them out and that kind of thing. It's brutal what happened there.
Could you say what stage is the investigation right now?
It's an ongoing stage. I don't know how many people are questioned, but I think a number of them have been questioned.
The missing cocaine was found in the possession of Mendonca 2 Mondays ago when he was intercepted by the police while en route to the United States. Police stated that during the search of the suitcase belonging to Mendonca, 1,828 grams of cocaine was unearthed. Javon Vickery, HGP Nightly News.
Thank you, Javon. Data released by the Child Care and Protection Agency reveals that Region 2 has the highest rate of child sexual abuse. This story from Kristen Macklingam.
The Cinderella County Region 2 is now the leading region in terms of the highest rates of child sexual abuse in Guyana. Child Care and Protection Agency Director Anne Green made this disclosure in Essequibo on Wednesday at a rally geared at stamping out child sexual abuse.
We looked at the stats again, and it revealed that Region 2 is the highest of the regions for the rate of child sexual abuse.
She explained that in any abusive situation, especially sexual in nature, the child is always left with the pain.
This abuse of our children, it gotta stop. It's a subject that people don't like talking about. A number of persons know of a child that they suspect might be sexually molested, most often by a family member, a person the child knows and trusts. But persons are not talking.
According to Ms. Green, many times a victim of child sexual abuse is sworn to secrecy or threatened that if their silence is broken, then bad things will either happen to them or their loved ones. Also, more often than not, in closely knitted communities, the child is misguided, being told to stay quiet before they bring shame to the family.
The end result, total destruction of the child, physically, psychologically, socially, and in every sphere of the child's life, robbing the child of the person he or she would have become.
Ms. Green reminded that the Child Care and Protection Agency continues to work assiduously in all regions to combat such issues faced by children in Guyana. Reporting for HGP Nightly News, I am Kristen Macklingham.
Thank you, Kristen. A Canadian government-funded property room at the Criminal Investigations Department was on Thursday handed over to the Guyana Police Force. It is expected to alleviate some of the prevailing issues relating to storage and accountability. Jevon Vickery was there. He reports now.
The new property room, a container that was recycled and turned into a state-of-the-art storage facility, was donated by the Justice Education Society, JES, through the Government of Canada. In the past several years, JES has worked closely with the Guyana Police Force, the judiciary, and even the media to improve not only the security sector, but also the criminal justice system. Speaking at the ceremony, Minister of Public Security Kamraj Ramjatan, while hinting at a recent incident where 2 kilos of cocaine went missing, asserted that efforts from partnering countries have resulted in a change in some areas of law enforcement.
Because I noticed some people mocking at us that with all the training, we're still having problems. Well, we are going to have our problems. Even those major democracies do have their problems, although they have wonderful police forces too. But it is important that we keep continuing the education, keep continuing building the infrastructure, even though it's going to be whatever in smallness and it is required. And that is what we have here. Thanks very much to JES.
In brief remarks at the handing over ceremony, Canadian High Commissioner to Guyana, Lillian Chatterjee, alluded to the cooperation between the police, the justice system, and agencies like JES to ensure an improved standard of the criminal justice system.
I'm confident that this new property room will strengthen evidence-based investigations and which will contribute to a higher level of efficacy and trust in the criminal justice system.
Jevon Vickery, HGP Nightly News.
Thank you, Jevon. The Ministry of Social Protection, in observance of Child Protection Week 2017, joined with hundreds of students and stakeholders in Region 2 on Wednesday to rally in the fight against child sexual abuse. Kristen Macklingham was there. She reports now.
Hundreds of students and residents of the Essequibo Coast turned up at the Anna Regina Market Square tarmac on Wednesday to support the Ministry of Social Protection's Child Protection Week rally.
This is the Essequibo Coast, where traditionally people pay great attention to their children and the children of other villagers. But things have changed to the point where Essequibians are now being called upon by Minister of Social Protection Amna Ali to recommit to the welfare and well-being of their children. Vigilance was actually their password. Now a government minister implores Essequibians to become more vigilant in suspected child abuse cases.
This campaign is important in the lives of Guyanese as it seeks to, amongst other things, to raise awareness and assist parents, child care givers, guardians, and society as a whole to be vigilant and partner with government, protecting and creating a safe and secure environment.
According to Minister Ali, families and friends should desist from trying to keep child sexual abuse suspicions or acts under wraps, since this only leads to negative effects all round.
It is imperative for all to be vigilant and also play their part in the fight against the abuse of children. This campaign also serves as an opportunity to condemn child labor, neglect, exploitation, human trafficking, teenage pregnancy, cyberbullying, as well as forced marriages.
The Social Protection Minister reiterated the administration's continued support to ensure that children are protected due to their vulnerability.
We are obligated to uphold the Constitution, which states that the best interest of the child shall be the primary consideration of the state, and to implement policies in keeping with the International Convention on the Rights of the Child.
Reporting from Anna Regina Essequibo for HGP Nightly News, I am Kristen Macklingam.
Thanks for staying tuned to the HGP Nightly News. The telephone company GTT is once again promising to revolutionize the internet landscape in this country, but the company wants the administration to ease more than press with taxes that affect the private sector. The details from Rodin James.
Chief Executive of the Guyana Telephone Telegraph Company, GTT, Mr. Justin Ned, says the company has been trying to bring new ideas on board. He says the importance of information communication technology is critical in this country now more than ever, and therefore GTT will do its part to improve on the services already offered. Mr. Ned's remarks came recently during a brief presentation at a private sector forum.
What we're rolling out right now is fiber to the homes that will give you 50 megabits per second. And that is going to transform the way in which each and every one of us lives.
Ned disclosed that for the past 5 years, the company has been growing broadband by 8% points annually.
We need to ask ourselves what would need to be true in order for us to really develop the ICT sector and bridge the digital divide so that we could bring more internet, more broadband internet to as many residents of Guyana as possible.
He said too that if this particular sector should grow, among the things that should happen is that the government should leave private sector activities to the private sector and don't try to compete, as well as the taxes must be watched.
If the government tries to raise money by raising taxes, I think that is a really destructive endeavor because it will just stymie private sector investment. Because businesses really have a profit incentive, which means that they have an incentive to costs, they have an incentive to ensure that economic resources are dedicated to best use. So we wouldn't have, as Professor Hussein suggested, make work type of jobs.
Not every home that uses the services of GTT are satisfied customers. The internet speed and, in some cases, other services offered by GTT are not up to standard and have sparked many complaints. Only recently, the Public Utility Commission revealed that the majority of the complaints the unit receives come from dissatisfied customers of GTT and GPL. Royden James, HGP Nightly News.
Thank you, Royden. Guyana Goldfields Incorporated commended its employees, children, who emerged top performers at the recent CSEC and Grade 6 assessment and granted them bursary awards for their academic achievements. Here's Diana George.
It's the 5th year of the Guyana Goldfield Bursary Awards, and children of the company's employees who performed exceptionally at the recent CSEC and the National Grade 6 assessment were commended on Tuesday. Manager Corporate Social Responsibility Iana John Baptist said Guyana Goldfields Inc. strongly supports educational development.
I felt the need to talk about, just mention briefly a few of our other initiatives in education that we do. Our technical school support and some of the technical schools here in Guyana. Currently, with LTI, we have partnered on an upcoming partnership with also CUSO, where they brought in an international volunteer to assist with a health and safety program there. Also, we've supported with providing equipment, some training, some funding even towards some of the technical schools here in Guyana.
Ms. Baptiste further stated that the company's main focus of corporate social responsibility is to provide sustainable initiatives through a number of educational and social programs.
We're always looking at ways that we could encourage that kind of development with youth. Education is a major part. Even our employees get regular education and training in various areas. It's something that we really strive to do. And even we're talking a lot about children, but also our adults. We have our Engaged Community Adult Remedial Program. That's where we have adults that are going to be writing CXE for the first time.
The students receive certificates of excellence and textbooks from Austin's bookstore, among other things. Country Manager Violet John Baptiste urged the students to believe in themselves and shun mediocrity.
The country is about to change in a marvelous way. And if you qualify yourself and keep on your path, you will make amazing contributions to the development of this country. It is very important that you spread that message, that Guyana is on the cusp of new things. The country that we know and we have grown up in will change in another 10 years. We may not recognize it.
Reporting for HGP Nightly News, Ayana George.
Thank you for staying tuned. I'm Colin Abrams with the HGP Sportscast. Once again, Archery Guyana's collaboration with the Ministry of Indigenous Peoples Affairs concluded with a very successful archery competition at this year's Indigenous Heritage Games at the Everest Cricket Club ground. More in this report.
Last Saturday's qualifying round began with 3 two-shows, Joel Fredericks, Colin Adrian and Lennox Hushman, shooting the first arrows to start off the competition. 13 men eventually made it to the semi-finals, while 3 ladies, 3 male youths, and 3 under-12 children made it to the finals. Sunday's exciting semi-finals and finals began with the first arrows being loosed by Sports Minister Dr. George Norton and Junior Minister within the Ministry of Indigenous Peoples Affairs, Valerie Garrido-Lowe. For the men's and ladies' finals, targets were set at 3 different distances: 10, 15, and 25 meters, after which each archer had to shoot at 3 moving targets rolling along the ground. The 3 men finalists were Ivor Williams of Maruka, Region 1, 29 points, Winston Beard of Campbelltown, Madia, Region 8, 23 points, and Horatio Barzo of Paramakatoi, Region 8, 17 points. Only Ivor Williams was able to hit the moving target, drawing loud applause from the crowd. The ladies saw mother and daughter Bernadette and Alia Garden of West Demerara. Alia Garden came out on top with 8 points and Bernadette Garden 1 point to gain second place. Alia Garden also won in her division last year. The youth males 12 to 17 was hotly contested by Joshua Samuel of Paruka, Region 4, who earned first place with 7 points, and Michael Hing of Georgetown, Region 4, with 4 points, who gained second, while Keon Katnoff of Paruku, Region 4, 0 points, came in third. The children under 12 shot at a 50-meter distance only. Paige Fernandez of Georgetown gained 16 points to win first place, while James Marco came in second with 1 point. For HGP Sports, I'm Stanford Howard.
Thank you, Stanford. In cricket, West Indies ODI captain Jason Holder will miss the final ODI on a Friday as he returns to Barbados for the burial of his uncle. In his absence, Jason Mohammed will lead the side, with all-rounder Carlos Brathwaite expected to be called up as cover. In hockey, GT&T National Indoor Hockey Championships continued Wednesday evening at the Cliff Anderson Sports Hall, and fans have witnessed 171 goals in 21 action-packed matches. More in this report.
Old Fort Titans battle Saints in the men's first division match and pull off a predictable 3-1 victory. The youthful Saints scored first through a Yannick Peters penalty corner, and Old Forts had to dig deep to draw even through Askofko Simmons before the half. Old Forts dominated the scoring in the second half, however, with a field goal and a penalty stroke conversion from Jason Clark to end with a 3-1 win. In the women's game, the National Ladies score a goal roughly every 4 minutes against the Old Forts Shooting Stars in their ladies matchup. The Nationals didn't seem as comfortable and fluid as their previous evening's match, but never seemed threatened as they cruised to a comfortable 9-0 win. Saints pulled off a surprising victory over the GCC Pitbulls in the men's second division competition. Other results of the evening: in the men's first division, National Black defeated Bounty GCC 7-1. Old Forts Titan defeated Saints 3-1. In the women's division, National Ladies defeated Old Forts 9-0. Pizza Hut GCC defeated Bingo Spartans 5-1. In the veterans division, Old Forts Goal-Getters defeated Antonia's Grill Hikers 6-3. In the men's second division, Saints defeated GCC Pitbulls 3-2.
Thank you, Stanford. We turn our attention to football news. The Ghana Football Federation on Thursday kicked off a 4-day CONCACAF D license program to build capacity among national coaches. More in this report.
The 4-day program is being facilitated by CONCACAF instructors Lenny Lake and Juan Carlos Machaya. It caters for 25 coaches, including some from the Ghana Football Federation, Scotiabank Academy Training Centers, National Sports Commission, and schools. The facilitators of the program encourage the coaches to learn as much as they can over the next 4 days, because when they leave, they must be able to say that they have learned enough to carry on the game of football in Guyana, since they are the future of the sport. President of the Ghana Football Federation, Wayne Ford, wished the coaches luck and encouraged them to take in as much as they can, since Ghana has an abundance of raw talent, but the country needs the skilled persons to develop these talent.
And finally, the Ministry of Education continued its Education Month celebrations with a jump rope competition tagged Skip to My Lou. More in this report.
The competition attracted 15 schools from 5 regions, with Georgetown standing alone. The event was geared towards fostering social cohesion through interaction between students, teachers, and stakeholders nationwide, while simultaneously promoting the benefits of physical activity for a healthy lifestyle. The categories contested included individual freestyle, individual single rope, double Dutch teams, and last man standing. The Assistant Director of Sport, Brian Smith, encouraged the children to enjoy the day of activities.
I must express my heartfelt thanks for your participation at today's event. This initiative, through the Ministry of Social Cohesion, as part of the commemorative activities for education, is what we would like to have as an annual event. We're grateful to see the participation from the different regions and different schools, and we definitely would like to thank you for participating in today's event. With those few words, thank you very much.
Organizer of the event, Lindy Longhorn, gave some insight on how the event started.
Now, it's indeed a pleasure to be here today after 5 years of hard work. Now, for those of you who don't know much about Skip My Lou, it's an activity that originated out of the Wellington of Linden, which started through our town activities. And from there, more and more persons really got interested in the activity, and more corporate entities also got on board with this activity. We started out very small with just the individual freestyle and the last man standing activity, and then we grew from year to year. And now, after 5 years, we've managed to, with the assistance of the Director of Sport, to bring this activity now to a national level.
He thanked the Ministry of Education, the Unit of Allied Arts, and sponsors Banks DIH through their Coca-Cola brand for their support throughout the years. Longhorn also touched on the health benefits of jump rope.
Some might see it as just fun, but there's so many things that you can actually gain from being part of this kind of activity. Jump rope as an activity, if you want to look at the health benefits of it, you can just jump rope for just about 10 minutes, equal to about 30 minutes of cardiovascular work. It's a great means of getting your fitness. So you talk about strength work, you talk about aerobics, you talk about plyometrics, all involved in just one activity, but most importantly, while having fun. Now, seniors going to this level for 5 years.
Participants of the competition received medals, trophies, cash vouchers, and laptops for their dedication to the sport.
And that is all for this edition of the HGP Sportscast. Back to you, Travis.
CID ranks under close arrest for missing cocaine. Public Security Minister up in arms over the incident. Fire guts 2 houses in Better Hope South, reportedly started by a toddler. Janet Jagan granted ExxonMobil 540 more blocks than Guyana laws stipulate, and highest rates of child sexual abuse now in Region 2. Those were our major headlines. For these stories and more, please go to our website. It's www.hgptv.com. I'm Travis Chase. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.